Okay, so let's move on to brushes. Now, brushes are my favourite subject, particularly in watercolour painting, because I have these beautiful Neef Squirrel mixed brushes that I purchased probably over 10 years ago now, and they've been so good to me. They have painted so many paintings and done such a good job that I really feel I must share this little secret of these beautiful brushes. So they are a Neef Squirrel mixed brush. They're not the cheapest brush you will buy. They are probably mid-range really. But what they do is, if you look after them and wash them after each use, they have an absolutely beautiful point to them. And you'll see the tip of the brush just works so beautifully, even in this big size 20 brush, which is great for doing all sorts of things, from a big wide sweep of paint to little details. I could probably paint a whole painting just with this great big size 20. But of course, sometimes you need to do a little bit of finer work. Now, the test of a good brush is that when you rinse it, it comes back to a point and it's not laying over like this, which is so frustrating. You can't work it with a brush that does that. Okay, so sometimes you need a smaller brush, and I'd have to say this little size 10, 12, you can get them in 10 as well, is a great little brush. It's a great size to use, and I can get into little areas like this if I need to. It also has a gorgeous tip to the brush that never loses its shape. Absolutely beautiful to use. Then I do like my little size 4 or 6. Sometimes I use a 4. And this would be for little tiny areas where I really do need a little fine brush. Much finer work. So at the end of the day, when I've finished painting, I give them a little wash in with some pure soap, not too much. You don't want to leave soap in your brush. And I wash them out very well, cold water, not hot. And I dry them and bring them back to their point like this, and I dry them flat on a towel overnight until they're totally dry, and then I'll pack them away. So actually these rarely get packed away because I'm using them so much. I hate to think of how many paintings I've painted over the years using these brushes. So the other thing I should say is try not to put your brushes upright in a container like this, because the water will flow down into the handle and crackle the handle and split it. So you're best to dry them off flat like that. Bring them back to the point, and they'll serve you for a long time. Okay, it's definitely worth the investment. Don't try and use cheap brushes that might not work. Okay, the other little brush is just a little Winsor & Newton brush that I use sometimes as well. And a flat brush. Sometimes you do need something just for flatter areas, a wash or something. So you might want something that has square shapes. So I find a square flat brush is quite good for that. So that's all about my brushes. I don't have hundreds of brushes, but I have very good quality brushes, and that's what I would totally recommend that you use.